Yo, peace family. What's good? We back with another episode of the TrakWolf Godcast. I'm your boy TrakBeatz.
Yes.
We got my motherfucking brother Cheno Bliss in the building with us as always, you know what I'm saying? Y'all make sure y'all tapping the Vinegar Hill, you know what I'm saying? They got a lot of dope merch up there and they got a crazy history. Y'all should actually do some background research on it, you know what I'm saying?
Sir.
But that's on the side note, you know what I'm saying? Just stay in tune with them, you know what I'm saying? But on that note, we got a special guest up in the building with us, you know what I'm saying? We got Miss Tanesha Hudson up in the building.
Hey.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm well.
Good. I see you be doing a lot of good community service work out here. So how did you really get involved in that field?
So let's do a little background. Born and raised, I'm from West Haven. I grew up in Hardy Drive.
Cruddy.
So I come from the streets, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm an original
OG.
Yeah. Like, not know.
We know.
Not know.
We know the terminology.
I just spent the night over there, but like born and raised, yes, woke up, no hot water, had to boil your water on the stove, go to bed, heat not working, like, yeah, I've been through it all.
Yeah.
So I'm an originator, and you brought up Vinegar Hill. I did the documentary, A Legacy Unbroken, the story of Black Charlottesville.
When was that?
I premiered in November 2019. So it's a story that touches on the black history of Charlottesville and like the legacy of growing up black. I wanted to talk about the black resiliency and just how did black people make it despite all of the trials and tribulations and the obstacles that was put in front of them. So just to give you a little bit of background on the film, because you brought up Vinegar Hill.
Yes.
I have 5 different pillars that I touched on. So I touched on black business, black education. So black business, I touched on like the Brimwana, that was one of the nightclubs that hosted artists like James Brown, Ella Fitzgerald, and different artists at the time. They were part of the like Chipman circuit, as they would call it back then. I touched on black education, like Burley High School, the legacy of Burley, the amazing football team, the amazing band.
When I moved down here.
The amazing band. And then I touched on riots. What people don't know is that a lot of, before the August 11th and 12th and the summer hate, the July 8th stuff, it was a riot that happened in the 70s here in Charlottesville, right in West Haven, that people didn't know about. So I talked about that a little bit. And I talked about the movement of the Black Panther. People don't know, but Charlottesville had a really strong chapter of the Black Panther. And my Uncle Tommy was actually one of the people that ran really tough with Bobby Seale and Huey P. Newton. So, and he lived here, born and raised. My Uncle Tommy was from here, but he traveled a lot. So, like, he was out in California, he was out in Seattle, he was up in D.C., he was at different places, like, doing all types of different things tied with the Panther. And Randy Jones spoke on that a little bit. So, that's just to give you some background of, like, what's in the film. But yeah, like we got our own history that we don't know about, and so
and a lot of stuff with the Black Panther, if that was actually still going on, would be pretty dope. I mean, even if they wanted to reorganize the name to make them feel better or whatever, you know what I'm saying. But protecting the communities against police brutality, you know, providing meals and shit to the homeless and, you know, to the kids, the people who can't eat, you know what I'm saying. Just like a sense of security outside of the police, you know what I'm saying. Yes, people can kind of trust them if they want to, if they're law-abiding citizens, but then you got people who are law-abiding citizens who still don't trust them, so then they also need a sense of security, you know what I'm saying? Absolutely. So that's a little bit of history about the film, but just to get back to how I got into being an activist. When I was in the 8th grade, because I was I was a book nerd, I got away from what I was surrounded by. I kind of bury myself in the books, because what people don't know, I tell people this all the time, is that it's so easy to look on the outside of a person and think like, oh, she got a good life, you know, like she ain't got to worry in the world. But people don't know what you've been through. They don't know your upbringing. They don't know what you were surrounded by. They don't know that I had a dad that was addicted to heroin.
You know, they don't know that I watched my father beat a heroin addiction over the years, you know, and that's like one of the toughest drugs to get off of. They don't know that I watched my neighbor, you know, get wheeled out of her house, like, because she had died of a heroin overdose. Like, I lived in Hardy Drive in an era when the war on drugs was really bad, and a lot of people that I went to school with.
That was in Centennial time?
No, way before him. I'm talking 80s. I'm talking before he even thought about selling anything. You know what I'm saying?
I had moved down here in 97, so I was late.
No. I'm talking as a child, like going to the park and you're stepping over crack needles. As a child, you're looking out your window and you seeing people get stabbed in your backyard. Like, yo, this is the life. This was the life of Charlottesville in the 80s, and it was a terrible time. And so I buried myself in books. And so by the time I got to the 8th grade, because I had did so well in school, I was able to interview to be a page. And so I got this position being a page. So I went to Richmond for 3 months.
What is a page?
It's a page is when you work for the governor. You go down to Richmond for 3 months. And you have to do 2 hours of school a day. You got to do all your school assignments in 2 hours. But you actually go and you work in the General Assembly, in the session. So you sit in the session and you go and you get bills for different delegates that need the bills. Or, you know, we work in the bill room. So what we would do, I'm going to give y'all a typical day of what I did. We would wake up. We stayed in the Omni Hotel for 3 months. We would wake up and we would walk up to the General Assembly. So it was probably about a 7-minute walk from the hotel by the time you wait to cross the street. So you'll wake up, you'll get to the General Assembly. You either was in the bill room, you was either sitting in a committee meeting, or you was either sitting in the chamber doing the actual session when they would vote on stuff. Yeah. So if you was in the bill room, you would collect all the bills that they would vote on that day in the session, and you would lay the pile of bills on the delegates' desk on their like station. And I mean, it looked just like it looked when you watch C-SPAN and you watching them vote in the chambers, right? Yeah. Up in DC. It's the same way in Richmond. Big old chambers, whole bunch of desks. We would sit behind the speaker and a light would pop up. And so if you came from a Democratic delegate, you sat on the Democratic side. Some days they'll say, look, we're going to switch y'all and we're going to make the Democratic pages work for the Republican page. So like you had to work for everybody. I remember being in the committee meeting.
How did that feel?
I mean, it was, listen, this is why politics don't really surprise me, is because I've seen these people literally in session argue with one another to the point you like, oh, they about to throw some blows up in here. Like they gonna go blow for blow in a minute. Like, they about to fight. And then at the end of the day, they sitting down in the hotel lobby taking shots together. And you like, but wait, you know, I'm a child. You gotta remember, in the 8th grade, you 13, 14 years old. In the 8th grade, I know, because I'm just a little bit fast because of my environment, right? Yeah. So I know it's a little off. But in the same sense, I'm like, wait a minute. So they just arguing like this and then they friends. I mean, their wives there and everything. So you just see the wickedness of politics, right? And I saw it early on as a child. So that's why what I see today doesn't really surprise me. But that was like my entryway into really being into politics. I spoke at a committee meeting. They were on the verge of changing the driver's license age from 16. They was going to change it to 18 in the 96 session. So they were going to make it where you had to be 18 to even get your license. And I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, let me get
I'm
mine
up next.
First.
Yeah, no.
Let me get mine first.
I said, wait, I'm up next. That wouldn't be fair because, I mean, you didn't penalize the other teenagers, so why you going to penalize me and those behind me? Yeah, we not going to, nah. So I spoke at a committee meeting, completely not even expecting to. Wasn't even really paying attention. I was writing in my little journal. Probably writing my boyfriend at the time. But I was writing in my little journal. And next thing I know, they're like, we're going to change the age. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
I can't drive home.
Object. So. That was my entryway. But, and then, I mean, I left Charlottesville. I moved to Charlotte. I came back. My dad passed away in 2008. And so I moved back here in 2009. I moved back. And, you you look at when you leave Charlottesville, you come back, you see the difference, and it's like
you experience life outside.
Yeah, and like Cheno from here, it's like you see a different city. And over the years, you see you feel the difference. It's like when I remember growing up as a kid, like downtown was the only place we went.
Yeah.
We didn't go to the Fashion Square Mall. It's like we would walk downtown with our families from our side of town. We would go downtown. We would have breakfast at Woolworth. We would go shop at A&M. Everybody went to A&M to shop. You know, A&M or H&M shoes or Miss Tilly shoes. Like everybody, young men and boys shop. We had like this routine, I would say, like growing up black and being young and black. And like now when you walk downtown, it's almost like I don't even feel welcome.
It's whitewashed.
Yeah.
It's really whitewashed.
Yeah. I feel like there's no other term I could think of.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You don't feel welcome. Like you just be eating and you just feel like they kind of looking at you but not really, but they looking at you but they're trying not to make eye contact but looking at you. That's how I feel. I just be like, man, like what the fuck?
Don't look away when I look at you. What the fuck is you looking away for?
It is really different when you go downtown, and it's like we talk diversity and inclusivity like everywhere. UVA, Charlottesville, Albemarle County. They say that, right? They say, yeah, we want to be diverse and we want diversity and inclusion to be at the forefront of our core values. Well, look at the departments that you work in.
How many black businesses are downtown right now?
I probably couldn't name one.
Me either. So when they say diversity to me, I be feeling like y'all just trying to throw niggas in y'all pot. Like, let us get our own pot and sit beside y'all pot. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But
like, don't diversify your job and employers. Like, let another black owner get the building beside you. You know
Bingo.
what I'm saying? All the downtown stores don't have to look and operate the same way.
Bingo. But again, do we fault them for that or do we fault ourselves? Because when it was cheap, right, and we could have been in a position to be downtown. Because you have to think, downtown has not always been thriving, right? So when it was in a time when it was deserted, before the city said, hey, look, we going to pump money into this downtown business association and really bring economics back and have it moving like Charlottesville, nobody really wanted to be downtown. You know, people thought the Fashion Square Mall was the it spot. Like, we be so caught on trends. We be so caught on, okay, well, all the foot traffic is in Fashion Square Mall. Let's focus on the Fashion Square Mall. Forgetting, right, that not all black people got cars.
Yeah.
Not everybody gonna ride the bus.
But also the demographic of the downtown mall is different from the demographic of the Fashion Square Mall.
Yes.
More black people that will probably buy the products that they're setting their stores up at and will go to the Fashion Square before they would go downtown.
But I can't say that back in the early 90s though.
I agree with that.
See, when it was like A&M, right? When like those stores that we did shop at were there. I'm saying there was a time when things were like pulling out of the downtown mall because of the then economy, right? Or where we were from an inflation standpoint.
I went downtown for the black vendors. They let niggas get the vending spots.
Yeah, they do.
They let them get that because when I moved down here, they still had A&M. I think A&M was like there for like
a year
or two, and then it was gone. I was like, damn. And then you could slowly see everything else transforming down there, and it's like.
But again, A&M pulled out because they wanted to be in barracks where there was more foot traffic.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, do we just not believe in investments, right? Like, it's like stocks. We was just talking about stocks, and it's like it's a waiting game. And
how do you teach somebody how to invest with no money?
Yes.
Well, I mean, let's be real. None of us come from that, right?
Money, yeah.
Yeah, none of us really come from that. It's about knowing and understanding how grants work. But it's also knowing and understanding that, look, these white people not using their own money either. They can go downtown and get $50,000, $50,000, $500,000 to invest in their development corporations or nonprofits. It's about knowing and understanding the nonprofit strategy and wanting to be at the top tier of the strategy. And I'm not saying that it's going to be as simple as, hey, look, let's me, you, and Cheno start a nonprofit and boom, we go to the city and ask for money.
Yeah, no.
Nah. Because, see, a lot of people think it's, because my nonprofit get the money, I'm good because, you know, we did it for us.
Yeah.
But you're not doing it for everybody else. And it's like, so we okay with just some black people getting it, but not all black people getting it.
It's two things that popped into my head. It's just as much work as the typical person's job that they do every day.
Agreed.
It's just that the typical person's job, their work is laid out for them. So they already know what to do. They're already told where to go. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have to apply anything. But
I think the hardest part with that is too is like, we also gotta equate for people having to live. So now you got somebody who's in survival mode trying to, you know, change their thought process from survival mode to like, let me organize something out of there. So it's like finding that bridge gap to kind of help those in that space area.
But we can also equate that too to us just also not being fully, like, we're not financial literate. Because if we knew how nonprofits work, and we know that if you get $100,000 worth of funding, right, that you can pay yourself a salary out of that. If you get $50,000 worth of funding, you can pay yourself a salary out of that. And we're not, again, I just think it's so many things that we miss because we never really been into running a nonprofit. We never really been into knowing and understanding business. Like, how many of us really ran businesses? Like, let's be real. Like, now I know about.
I've seen it growing up.
Bingo.
Well, you know,
like, I never really got into. I got a business now that I do, but like, I'm not doing it for like the purpose of money. I do it because I feel like that's what my community need. I'm not gonna have schools running down on kids who are on an individualized education plan and they're on the verge of being kicked out of school. You can't even do that. That's illegal based on the law. But it's been happening and nobody's been paying attention to it. And so I started having these meetings and going to these schools, and I've represented kids in every piece of this region, from Greene County schools to Waynesboro schools to I'm way over in Augusta County, Albemarle, Charlottesville. I've been everywhere with representing kids that were on these individualized education plans, and they literally, like, they were gonna kick them out.
It's crazy.
For no reason. Like, really behavior issues, but you know they got a behavior problem because it's on their IEP.
But what's crazy to me is just even saying somebody has a behavioral issue because they don't conform to the structure. Like, every kid or every human doesn't learn the same way. Everyone doesn't sit down. Everyone doesn't learn at the same time of day. So it's like a bunch of shit that equate to that. So I hate when it comes down to that. You know what I'm saying? And I know that's a big factor in everything as well, too.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And it's like, we wonder why not to really, like, go into this, because this is a really tough, like, topic for me. But we wonder why so many young people out here are on, like, drugs, right? You have to think, a lot of the people that I know that have a substance abuse issue, they were the same little young kids popping Ritalin every day before lunch, right? Or early in the morning, taking medicine. And you have to think, Adderall, Ritalin, and all of those drugs that's supposed to stimulate you as a kid, it's things in those pills that will cause you to be an addict later on in life. And look, I remember being young. Like, now looking back, I can look back and be like, wait a minute. I don't remember seeing none of them white kids lined up to take them pills. Yeah. Right? Seriously, like, when I grew up, I never saw the white kids or the white students that was in line to take those pills. But I always seen kids that came from neighborhoods or the CRHA developments, like where I grew up at. Yeah. And it's like, all of this stuff is like a setup. Like, I remember watching The Breakfast Club one day, and Juice WRLD was saying, like, yo, I had did Adderall, Ritalin. He was naming them left and right. He said, y'all wonder why I'm addicted to prescription pills. You made me an addict as a kid. And I've been saying this for a long time. Like, I remember a lot of the people who are where they are now, you know, God rest some of their souls. I remember a lot of them being those young men that were on those drugs. Like, just to, like you said, conform.
Yeah.
And be
a part of society.
A part of that. Yeah, not even a part of society, but just be a part of school on the day. And they would sit in class like zombies.
What happens is you want to fit in with your peers, but then you also being forced into the situation. So then you got this whole internal fight. You know what I'm saying? So I know I got a 5-year-old daughter, so I definitely do not apply no pressure. You know, I'm constantly knowing that it's my job to guide and teach. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you receive other assistance from the community, you know, that's how the universe works, you know what I'm saying? It takes a tribe to raise a child.
It takes a village, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But apparently now, I can do it by myself, you know what I'm saying? I can do it by myself.
I got an issue with that.
I hate that shit. Or don't have that motherfucker around them. If people are moving and living a certain way, then yeah, but if somebody is vibrating on a high frequency and you just ignorant and don't want them around, then you gotta work on yourself.
So I reached out to Sally Hudson, who's the delegate of Charlottesville. I reached out to her. I had been researching ways in which we could get black men more involved with their children. I feel like when you stabilize the black family, that's how we get the black unity that we need. Because what we fail to realize is that the breakdown in the black community really is the black family.
Starts at home.
Yes. So I reached out to Sally Hudson. I said, hey, you know, I was doing some research and I ran across in Kentucky, I believe, they had a House bill that they presented where black men getting released from prison would be given joint custody of their children. Now, what people don't know is that in Virginia, when you get joint custody of your child, the parent that makes the most money pays the other parent child support. So if the man ain't working, but the woman is working, she would be responsible to pay him if he had joint custody. So see, they don't know that. I know because I went through it firsthand when me and my baby daddy was battling for custody and stuff. And we went to court and the judge was like, well, technically, you made good money. And I can make you pay him, so do you really want to fight? I was like, that nigga ain't getting none of this bag over here. You better go and get him joint custody, but he ain't getting none of my money. Shout out to my baby daddy Rashad, because he could have dragged me and made me pay child support, but he didn't. So shout out to you, Rashad. But yeah, like they really
love.
I feel like they don't want black men in Virginia to know that. So I reached out to Sally Hudson. I said, hey, listen, this is a good bill to put out because this stabilizes the black home. A lot of black men lose their license for? Child support. Why can't black men, you know, they feel like, look, I go to work, but when I go to work, I owe so much child support. Taking that shit, how much? Ain't no need for me to work. Yeah. If I'm going working 40 hours a week or 40, 50 plus hours a week, and I'm only bringing home $200 and $300 because I gotta pay all this child support, and then when you locked up, they still charging you interest.
Yeah, and you gotta pay that back.
You could go to jail with a $5,000 child support balance, and you could come home and it could be up to like, God forbid, 15.
Yeah.
Say you got a 5 or a 10-year bid and you coming home and you getting all that interest stacked on top or whatever balance you went in there. I know, dude, I worked at child support for a little while in my early 20s. But it's like, yo, I know some dudes walking around here probably not even 30 years old with a good hefty $40,000, $50,000 balance. Mm-hmm. You need to babysit your kid. Like.
So let me just ask this rude question. You seem to have fair knowledge and experience about the system. Mm-hmm. You've seen the transparency of the system. I'm a person who has seen transparency through life, so when I see a situation where history is written, you guys pretty much participated in it, and you act ignorant to the circumstances of the current state of the world. There's not much to talk about, because you're just playing me dumb. I agree. So I kind of just waiting for a boiling point. So when people talk solutions, I want to, but I'm just waiting for a boiling point because I'm just like, you just turning a blind eye and playing me dumb. So like, what is the real solution? Because I only see a boiling point as a solution.
I agree. I had that conversation today, and I said, you know, unfortunately, we know that the system was not built for us. But I also feel like the black people who have made it or are in these positions of power need to understand that it's hard to maneuver and create the solutions that we want within that system.
Yes.
And it's like, if you know, like I know I would never be a politician. A lot of people ask me, a lot of people, you know, comment on my Facebook post and say, you know what, you need to run.
Time to do that shit. You gotta.
I would never do it because I know that I'm never going to. Like, I know I'm not going to bend in a system that technically wasn't even built for me. Now, you know, again, I like to cuss people out and sleep good at night. I light your ass up with some cuss words all day long. I'm down City Hall doing it all day. But at the end of the day, I do feel like when it's one of us, when we look at the current structure of the city of Charlottesville, we have a black mayor and 4 white Democratic councilors. She's independent and 4 Democrats, and all the Democrats are white. One person can't make the change. And even when you look at some of the work that West has done from an equity standpoint to put black people in I wouldn't even say a better position, but to try to move black people, to move the needle up, right? Just a little bit. We don't know what West had to compromise in order to make that happen. But West had a compromising approach, right? So yeah, he may have gotten his $250,000 to go towards this or that and this and the third. But you don't know what else he had to do to make that happen, because I've also seen West vote on West 2nd Street, which was supposed to be $1 million condos in the parking lot downtown. So it's like you give to get. And if that's the name of the game, then we ain't never really gonna progress, because at the end of the day, they still satisfied with giving us crumbs. It's like you sprinkling just a little bit of crumbs over here for us to just be like, we supposed to accept that.
Yeah.
We supposed to be good with that. Yeah. And it's like, nah, that's not the answer for me. But I feel in the same sense, I feel like we can't really stop fighting, because at the end of the day, what if our ancestors would have stopped and gave up? We still be, you know, going in all black restrooms, all black restaurants, riding the bus.
I think right now we fighting from so many different angles right now. Like, they not gonna be able to hold this shit down. Like, that's the problem. That's the fucking problem. Why they gotta keep changing the game and adjusting the game.
How do you feel? Speaking of downtown, because like we said, it's so whitewashed here. Like, it's so whitewashed here. It kills me when you try to like have a black community or anything, and it's just like, well, you can't have it all black. That's racist or segregated. It's just like everything here.
It's segregated.
It's segregated. It's white.
So in order for that concept to change, we have to sprinkle some black hair, some black hair, some black hair, some black hair. You know what I'm saying?
Well, then
we have to get spots stamped located everywhere, so that way they can lose that concept.
But how you gonna do it if people refusing to purchase them?
Oh yeah,
but
we got to start knowing self. Everybody got to start learning knowing self and understanding what's really going on. See all angles of this reality, the one that they created and the one that's actually here for us.
But they give.
But they give us stuff.
It be like that when people interview me.
Yeah. You can keep going there.
Oh, I was just saying, like, we really need to start purchasing property, but it's like, how you gonna purchase something in Charlottesville? You know, the average property in Charlottesville is at least $300,000.
So high.
Okay, this is something else I was wanting to ask you to give some perspective on. So, when you mentioned numbers like 100,000, 50,000, that blow motherfuckers' mind. Most people ain't even had $1,000, $5,000 in their hand.
You got to get to reachable numbers first. $500.
So what might be a way, or how might you go about getting a grant for $1,000, $5,000, $10,000? Like, what might be the steps somebody could take to do that?
So there's different, like the Charlottesville Area Community Foundation, CACF. They give grants twice a year. They do the veteran. I don't quote me on the names, but hold on, I gotta cheat for a minute. Strengthening Communities grant.
You got a few in mind.
Yeah, you gonna have to edit this. I'm cheating right now.
That was the only edit.
Bama Fund. The Bama Fund grant.
Bama Fund?
Bama. Yeah, the Bama Fund.
I'm triggered. What is that?
So, it's the Dave Matthews Band do it, but they put together a collective amount of money.
Okay.
And different people get it every year. So, like, I did it for my film. You all can do it for your podcast. I mean, your podcast is about enlightening the community.
Oh, we'll love that.
Yeah, I'll send you the information. I'll shoot you the link for it.
Definitely.
But yeah, like Charlottesville Area Community Foundation. What's the other one?
You got a lot of
What type of things do people have to do? So I want a grant. Like, what type of things do they have to have in order for themselves? You know.
So you need to have, if you're not a nonprofit, then you need to have a fiscal sponsor. So somebody with the nonprofit, you need to go under their umbrella. Virginia Organizing used to do it. I don't know. Like, I know they wouldn't sponsor me. Look, these white people don't like me.
Will you go to Google, or like how would you go about finding a sponsor?
Well, again, you just find somebody with a nonprofit and say, hey, will you be my fiscal agent? So if y'all looking for one, we'll talk off the record.
And when you say, like, you can have your own nonprofit, that's like going down to City Hall, you know?
No, that's pulling the information, the 501c3. That's a federal application that you have to fill out. It used to be really, 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 really long and thick to, like, complete it, and it required a lot of stuff. But I've been told that now they made it easier because, you know, now we in this race war and the racial tensions in America. A lot of black people saying, look, y'all made this hard, so we couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And I heard it's gotten a little bit better, but it is expensive. I want to say it's probably like close to $1,000 to pay for everything.
You gotta invest.
You do gotta invest in yourself, but in the same sense, it's like if you just starting off too, it's like why put me at a disadvantage because I may not have it, right? Yeah. But that's what you could use the grant for when you apply for like Bama Fund or whatever other grants. Virginia Humanities is another one. It just popped in my head. But yeah, like that's what you could use some of that money for. But then we gotta use platforms like outlets like podcasts and, you know, like TrakWolf Godcast and other black media.
Because we're starting to see a few more lift off, just kind of creating different outlets.
But we gotta use it to our advantage because we're not gonna get the information that we need from NBC 29 or the Daily Progress.
Yes.
And you may have some, you know, people that ain't everybody gonna support me. You might get some feedback even from this one about me, and I'm cool with that. Look, I know what I do. So unless you out here doing the work, I really don't give a damn what you say about me because you ain't doing the work, and I already know you ain't doing the work. So, you know, you might have people with different viewpoints come on and say like what they like, what they don't like. I'm cool with that. Look, I don't care what people say about Tanesha Hudson because I know at the end of the day I get it done. And I know at the end of the day that I give everybody the same benefit of the doubt until you give me room not to. Yeah. And I think that's where we have to have a good meeting point being black is, look, we can agree to disagree and walk out the door and still be cool. But when you feel like you can't take accountability for being wrong, I got a beef with you. Because none of us are always right. And we live in an imperfect world. And so nobody walking this earth is perfect. Yeah. But they won't tell you that part. See, they won't say, we spoke in private 100 times before the beef started. They ain't gonna tell you that part. But they'll tell you, oh, I feel like I don't like her because of XYZ. I'm cool with that because I know my role out here. Like I said earlier, I'm a Scorpio, and look, it take us a minute to attack. We gotta be put in a position to really shoot fire. Yeah, we gotta be put in a position. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm just sitting back. I'm funny as I'm silly. Like I'm sitting back laughing.
The universe only send the great vibes through this way. They only send the best vibes through here.
Oh yeah, look, all I do is laugh. I don't even get high, but I feel like I got contact. I'm ready to laugh now, eat some damn chips. Like, the hell? I'm like, I don't even smoke. Yo, you come to this podcast, you definitely I feel like I had an edible. Like I ate a little foot.
That is
I always tell people too, man. When you having good conversation and you building with people, it always feels like the room growing though. You get high.
Oh yeah, but that's what it should be about, right? Yeah. You should be able to bring somebody on and learn something that's beneficial to you.
And to change the context of the substance. You know what I'm saying? Because what you get from movies is just one thing, and then, it's not always utilized in the same formula.
Yeah, I feel we gotta stop competing with each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, if this person over here doing it and it's working for them and it's successful for them, then we need to pass that on and like within our community and within the people that we want to see come up. Like I don't know how, like, and I'm not saying it's you in particular. You may have just did it for everybody in the community, but I don't know how long y'all may have been wanting to know information on grants, but I've seen people on your podcast. Why didn't they tell you? Because some of them may be benefiting from it, but why didn't they tell? It's like we be in secret competition with one another, and I can't wrap my mind around why. When we all can eat, like, look, when everybody eating, everybody happy.
Yeah. And even me, like, for a while, I mean, since like the end of last year, I've been trying to figure out a way to get a conversation started on like a way to get within like position of leadership, like a male and female working together.
I thought we had that.
I mean, like, they're both in the forefront. You know how one person to this, like, yo, it's the leader. It's like, no, we're working in unison. Like you said, teamwork. Like, I feel like that will bring a lot of solutions, like checks and balances within people, you know what I mean? An example of leadership, teamwork. I believe it'll just bring different solutions. Like,
and being okay to, let your secret sauce be out there, you know what I'm saying? If there's some other stuff going out there, if you really genuinely want to help some people, you're going to put that sauce out there.
Yeah, that's one thing that I do a lot. Like, whenever things I need to work on, I throw it out on camera and conversation, like, so I have to work on it. You know
so
what
people
I mean?
hold you accountable.
Yeah, and I hold myself accountable, really.
Yeah.
I thought we would have had the good connection with a black city manager and a black mayor, and them really turning Charlottesville around. Black police chief, now we got a black fire chief. I really thought that we had enough black excellence downtown, and I hate to revert back to the city, but we don't understand that it trickles down from there.
That's a historical marker technically though, even outside of just this standpoint, you know what I'm saying? That shit was like a Black Wall Street, so it's a historical marker. But
I think we have to look at we were talking about this probably off the record, but when I was saying earlier about we have to look at how society has made it okay for black women to feel like we're superior to our men in a sense. And I just had this conversation yesterday with my little sister and my little brother, and they both UVA graduates. They're gay scholars. They graduated from UVA. They're getting there. Well, she graduated from Harvard with her master's, and then my little brother, he's still at UVA doing. This is his last year. He graduated with his master's from UVA. But it's like we don't understand that in the white community, the woman has never really did but so much other than take care of her kids. So it's by no coincidence that society wanted black women to feel superior because 9 times out of 10, well, I'm gonna say 8 times out of 10, maybe 7 out of 10.
7.5.
You taking the number down. I want to hammer that first.
I want to make it a little fair.
Yeah, make it fair.
That we're leading our households. We make more money than the men that we dating 9 times out of 10, right?
Yeah.
But because we're successful and we're leading our households, what also does that do? Take us away from spending time and raising our children.
Yeah.
And so that leaves your children, if you don't have that village you was talking about, to fend for themselves.
Yeah,
and as a man, it's your job to provide. So you automatically got that ego thing that's you got to fight with every way, any way yourself. But it's like that pride thing is tough.
It is tough. Too. However, where does that leave your children?
Yeah.
To be raised by the street.
Yeah.
And then we have a perpetuating cycle of we know where we come from. Look, I'll be real. Some people ain't have no choice but to sell drugs out here. I watch certain people around me come home, ain't have food to eat. I seen it all. You can't tell me not. Listen, people don't know what I seen as a kid. I seen people living in the absolute filth.
Yeah.
Because their parents was. I came up through the crack epidemic. The heroin epidemic, the crack epidemic, I came up through some shit.
Yeah.
And so when you come up through that type of stuff and you know the position that certain people have been in, it's like, yo, I ain't surprised that nigga was in the street. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't surprised that he was selling drugs by the time he was 13. Yeah. He had no choice. He was dealt a bad hand. Yeah. And instead of somebody taking him on and really cuffing him under the wing and really putting him in a position to see life different. See, I feel like a lot of us around here, we're so small. We was just talking about traveling abroad. Yeah. Some people ain't left past North Carolina or D.C.
Yeah.
They don't even know what's on the other side of the world. They never even been on a plane.
Yeah.
Me.
I was like that.
I traveled, but I ain't been on a plane.
Yeah, it's like we just don't know. Like, it's a whole world out there. And I'm going to be real. My first visit outside the country, like, opened my eyes and showed me, like, yo, Cheno just asked me, like, how did I feel about Ghana? And I forgot to add this part in. But, yo, I think that trip humbled me times, like, 1,000.
Yeah.
Like, I became a different person where I don't want to take nothing for granted no more because it's like, they've been dragged over there. The resources are very minimal.
They're still being dragged.
But they the happiest people ever, yo.
Get your shirt off their back.
Happy.
Don't got nothing.
Ain't some of them walking around with no shoes on their feet.
Most of them got sandals on.
And all you see is teeth.
Yeah, man.
Like, they smiling all day, every day. And it's just like, I probably would be over here ready to fight everybody. What you doing over here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you see families.
They got a completely different concept of life. We've been fucking sport rotten over here. But before we keep digging in, we're going to cut to this break and we're going to slide right back to y'all.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
And we back from the break. We back.
You.
So, I was wondering, like, how you feel about the concept of freedom?
So I think one has to know that they're free, right? And if you don't know that you're free and you're a prisoner in your mind, it's like you'll ask yourself, like, what do I have to live for?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't explain how I think.
What is freedom to you?
I get that.
What is freedom to you?
Freedom to me is me being able to do whatever I want to do and to live in a certain way where I know I'm not going to go out here and just kill nobody, right? But if I'm a law-abiding person, then I just want to be able to have the same opportunities and the same starting point as someone else, regardless of what I look like on the outside. I want to walk into a bank and not be told, oh, yeah, Miss Hudson, my credit could be better than my white friend. But they gonna give her that loan before they give it to me. Yeah. We don't understand it ain't even about being free. Because I know I'm free. They can't fuck with me. Yeah. They might fuck with the next person walking on down the street. But you gonna really have to come at me because I know that there's a system aside from this system that you thought you created in 1776.
Yeah, you based your system off of that system.
Bingo. Yeah. So, but in the same sense, it's like we have to understand the definition of predatory lending, predatory. You know, like how they're choosing us where we live at. Like everything about the American way has been predatory to black people, and we don't understand the concept of. We be thinking like, oh, I did this home buyer program and now I'm a homeowner, blah, blah, blah. Predatory. Because even though you gave me a house, it's stipulations to it.
Yeah, they manipulate the fuck out of us.
Man, don't they?
They manipulate the fuck out of us.
But see, this is the thing. This is the thing. And this is the thing. It always gets me as a man because I have to shut down in order to not self-destruct or explode.
Yeah.
When I have an obvious issue that's clearly something that's going on, like you giving me something under the stipulations that you would like, and when I want something equal, you just be quiet. Or you frame me as something else. I either have to, what is my next option? Because the only thing I want to attack. Because I'm just like, what else do I do? You just gonna keep ignoring me and trying to sprinkle crumbs over here?
They kind of force you like everything is by choice, but they force you kind of on a higher percentage scale into submission. You know
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah.
So let me ask y'all.
If I attack, I broke the law now. So now I don't get anything
without
anyway.
the system. Like I try to look at that shit like a monopoly board. Every time you buy a house, that's a part of the system. So you want to try to live on the spots that's not paid for. You know what I'm saying? But there are no spots like that out here. Not in the States. You know what I'm saying? This has already been.
So let me ask y'all, because I'm of course I'm a woman, but
yeah,
I want a male perspective.
Yes.
What is freedom to you two?
Freedom to me? Freedom to me is me being able to be unbothered by external sources.
Okay. So like I said,
some things may affect me. Yeah,
doing what you want to do.
In a different way. Well, not necessarily. Yeah, I mean, I think most people want to do what they want to do, unless actually
within a concept or scope. I mean, like I said, I don't want to kill nobody.
I want to be able to experience life without being bothered by what life has me experience. You know, sometimes we go through things or we feel certain ways that we prefer not to. I would like to be able to just watch my life like a movie. To be comfortable with it. Yeah. I want to be comfortable with
you might can, because this shit in here got me. I go interview the movie.
Yeah, man. Like
I just want to live life by universal law. You know what I'm saying? Like the universal law. I don't want to live by man laws. I'll live by universal laws, and you know, let me be judged by my actions. You know what I'm saying? I don't need all these extra pay bills and shit. Like, fuck is all that shit for? You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, I know we have to do it, but if there was no system, you know what I'm saying, then we could build our own houses. If you didn't know how to build, motherfucker, you just wouldn't be living in a house. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would be based off of what you can do.
So you want to live with no form of statutes, codes, and ordinances, which in reality are laws, right?
I don't want to live by man laws. Just you know, we know when we make laws or do certain things on the inside if we feel guilty or not.
Exactly.
You know
we have a conscience.
Like, you know, if you sign a spiritual contract with your friend to do something or to be somewhere and you don't do it, you start feeling guilty.
Mm-hmm.
You might say fuck it, but you still gonna feel it either way. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the laws I want to just be able to freely live by, you know what I'm saying, without having to be like, I want to walk across the street. Oh, but you could be jaywalking, and that's a fine. Like, I don't fuck about no jaywalking ticket. I don't give a fuck about no parking ticket. Let me park my shit wherever I want to park it. Like, all these weird stipulations add more stress on top of trying to live and then trying to build and then, you know, trying to find yourself and do all this other shit at the same time, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you ain't following the right motherfucker or watching or listening to the right shit, your ass is gonna drown fast. Like, I know I had to dig myself hard about that motherfucking hole. Like, when I say hard, I shut down all sports, all cable, all that shit, you know what I'm saying? Not only intake the right knowledge and information. You know what I'm saying? I was force feeding myself. You know, they force feed me, so why can't I force feed myself?
How do we form a more perfect union within our households? Like, how do we build back the black family the way it needs to be? I feel like daughters and fathers have broken relationships, and sometimes mother and sons have broken relationships. It's like it's like crisscross. You know, like if my dad wasn't really in my life, okay,
Yeah,
I feel some type. Yeah, like I feel some type of way, you know, about not having my dad. And being a girl though, we kind of need our dads a little bit more, because having your dad shapes the type of man that you end up with. Exactly. Whether people want to accept that or not, it really plays a role. And
I'm trying, big girl. I'm trying.
And it, you know, you come. This, I'm changing the subject just a little bit, but it gets back to what we were saying earlier, and like finding solutions, freedom, right? Finding solutions and freedom. Finding solutions and freedom. How do we get back to, you know, being able to have a solid foundation within our households? Because I feel like having a solid foundation in your household goes a long way, because otherwise, if you come from a broken mother, right, your mom and your dad didn't work out, and you come from a broken mother, 9 times out of 10 as a young girl, you tend to want to look for love in all the wrong places. And I don't know this from a male perspective, so you all have to answer that. And we got a little, you know, it's the age difference between us, but
we can talk about it.
You know, it's something I feel like the public just needs to have some type of perspective on, because a lot of why we're broken the way we're broken started at home. Yeah. And we don't want to admit to that. Yeah. Growing up, we seen our grandparents. I know granddaddy was over here, grandma was like, what is y'all doing sleeping in different rooms?
Oh yeah, come on, man.
Toxic shit all day, right? But we didn't have those conversations. And we need to start having those tough conversations in our households about toxic love with family members.
Yeah, because you don't stop loving somebody less if you have to take space.
Agreed.
That doesn't change how much you love them. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's a tough cookie. I think you would have to start with the kids. You know what I'm saying? Because like, for us adults, and like once you hit a certain age frame, wherever it is spiritually, because you know numbers don't mean shit. Somebody could be mature at 16. Somebody could be a kid at 52. Like, so
I totally agree.
Depends on where you hit it at. It's like, then you gotta figure out where your adjustments is gonna come from there. If you're not gonna make no adjustments, then it's kind of like, I don't really want to waste too much energy, because our energy is valuable. Our time is valuable. We don't get that shit back. You know what I'm saying? So then we have to put that energy over into the kids. You know what I'm saying? In between us and then the kids. You know what I'm saying? The younger generations, whichever one. Because if the adults isn't trying to hear it, or don't want to take any seeds, or, you know, like, just don't want no parts of it, like, only thing we could do now is go down to the kids. They ain't really been affected by it too much. So if we could be there to be helpful, you know what I'm saying? I know I go up and I pick up my niece as much as I can, you know what I'm saying? My brother, that motherfucker don't be around, you know what I'm saying? You one of them niggas that's in the way, you know what I'm saying? I talk to him about that shit, but, you know, I don't accept none of that shit. Or any of the weird shit. I call it all weird shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could put a bunch of shit.
It's called the gray area.
Yeah.
No, it's called you a deadbeat ass daddy.
All of that shit. It's in between shit.
Like,
shit not black and white.
I still go pick up my niece, you know what I'm saying? Like, alright, my bro know what time I'm on now. He see me doing what I do, and I've been at this space. Now I'm just kind of putting it out there for the people. I let you know what's up every once in a while.
Are you older?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, like, I'll reach back down to him and see what's up, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, I don't want to waste too much energy over there. You already know. You can come fuck with big bro if you want to, you know what I'm saying? But now I'm going to grab my niche, you know what I'm saying? Because I know I'm mature enough to know that not having that person around is effective. You know what I'm saying? Like,
do you two feel as, we're going to switch things up here. This is a little bit for the ladies because it's Women's History Month.
Okay.
What has a black woman done for you to shape your life? In a positive way.
I'll tell you what, my mom was young, but she did her best to instill the values and principles, even though time-wise, maturity-wise, she just wasn't there emotionally. She wasn't that developed. She put me in the best environments that she could. At the time, you want your mama. Like, you don't want to be nowhere else. But as I'm now 30, I'm glad that I was where I was at, because I'm hearing stories now about people I may have been around and the environments I may have been in, and I'd be, like you said, when you out here by yourself, you got to find a way. But I would have been lost as a motherfucker out here doing Lord knows what, probably locked down somewhere, just because when you don't really got nobody around like that and you that young, you just don't have no sense of security or no sense of it's nothing to there's no reason to be calm. There's no reason to be like rational.
Yeah,
because there's nobody around to be rational for. It's nothing to stay there for. You know what I mean?
Make
like
those decisions yourself. You know what I'm saying? I know for me, my mom played a huge factor. She was just mostly like not around. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could think of a lot of times where like I was in New York and I left there at like 96. I'm 35 now. Left New York at 96. You know what I'm saying? So all my memories and shit that I got from New York, I was young. You know what I'm saying? Besides going up there every summer on all the holidays, but like, I remember a lot of shit from 5, 6 when I was just, there were no cell phones, so I was out in the streets running around playing, doing whatever the hell I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? It didn't make no difference. Like, her main thing was, their job is just supposed to provide clothes, food, and a roof. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And they always said that all the time, and then always threw out there, I can't wait till y'all turn 18 and get the fuck out. So it was
I think all black mamas said that. I went through that and I'm a girl.
Yeah, so but all of that is like, it's all rejection. You know what I'm saying? So like,
it's all they knew.
Yeah, I'm only just speaking from my end, that they could have known more or less. But for me, it was like, that's another form of rejection still. And then to still go through other experiences where my mom's really wasn't even there until I went through some shit, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, I'll take you being around now, but shit, you ain't been around before. So. But
I do feel like it's all they knew, though. And I asked y'all that question. But I asked y'all that question because, how often have we sat down with our parents to really talk about their traumas?
Yeah, I tried to. If my boss shut me down, I tried to get information. I tried to talk to her boss. When I started getting it too, I started talking to my grandmother's more, asking her relevant questions, you know what I'm saying?
Did your grandmother play a role in your life?
Yeah, I love my grandma. And my mom, when she moved us from New York, shit, I cried. I didn't want to leave. My sister was still there, my brother, my cousins. Like, I had all my family still there. Like, and my grandmother, that's who we spent most of our time with anyway. She just drop us off over there, or we'd go over there. Then, motherfucker wasn't around, but you had a choice. It was a choice. When we moved, things was different. You want to start over. Shit didn't start the fuck over. Shit continued.
Yeah, and that's part of what I was going to say. Like,
shit continued.
When you get older and you've worked through things, the thing that really hurts, you work through resentment, you work through pain, rejection, all of that stuff, is when they're still the same character.
Yeah.
They still got that same character. Their character just hasn't developed. And you just like, God damn, yo, like, I'm a grown ass man. Like, I got kids now. Like, well, I can't bring this around you for it to be another motherfucking cycle just because you make it look more presentable. You know what I mean? Like,
that was a good way of putting it. I can't bring this around you.
I can't.
You're right. My moms don't even pull up on me, and we got brothers and sisters. I got a brother in Florida, sister in New York. You know what I'm saying? Like, we everywhere, but I'm in town with her. You know what I'm saying? You still can't even pull up on me and your niece.
So let me ask you this: if you could get, I know if I could get time back with my dad died in 2008, but I know if I could get some time back with my dad, I think I would want to just learn more about why he was in the position that he was in. Now that I know the system, right, and that I'm in the streets and I'm doing the work, I understand, like, the obstacles that he was up against. And now I see it from a different perspective. But one thing I give my mom a lot of credit for is that even though my dad wasn't there, she never bad talked to him. She never told us, like, yeah, your daddy ain't shit. You know, some women do that. My mom never did.
Do that either.
Yeah, my mom never did that.
My mom saying do that.
Because she always said that we would get grown and we would get older and that we would form our own opinion of him. And we did. And I didn't have to have a relationship with my dad. I chose to have one with him when I was 18, got my own place. You know, he lived with me a little off and on. Yeah. Kind of glad that he left. He left my house. I was living in Charlotte when he passed. He left my house 2 days before he died. Because he died that Friday. So it would have ruined me to come home from work in North Carolina and see my dad in my house dead. You know what I'm saying? So, like, things have a way in working itself out. But I can admit, you know, I got more closure with my dad, I think, than my middle sister. And I think, like, she needed that closure. She never really had a relationship with my dad. Me and my older sister did. Yeah. So my sister Tasha is like your mom's age.
Yeah, yeah.
But Tasha had, her and I, because we were, like, in the street.
I knew she was just y'all look alike.
Oh yeah. She, like, we was in the street, like, we party all the time and stuff, and you know we go to the club. Like, well, she not no more scout like kids, but when her younger days, like, our childhoods was very similar. Yeah. And my middle sister, hers was a little bit different. You know, I don't know if y'all believe in middle child syndrome, but she kind of had that.
You're a middle child.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you need extra attention. That's why your mom brought you down here. She knew that about you.
I got an older sister on my mom's side, older brother on my dad's side. So yeah, I never really.
You the middle child. Yeah, you got the middle child.
You're in the middle right now. Look at
it. Yeah.
Shit is sickening.
You feel being in the center that's your comfort zone. That's that middle child shit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, now we take accountability here to TrakWolf.
Yeah. So yeah, she didn't really get that closure, and I feel like it affects her in ways that don't really affect me and my older sister. So, like, if I could just have that moment back with my dad, I would just want to know a little bit more about, you know, his life. And, like, I got some answers on, like, why he didn't raise us and what he was battling. He talked to me about addiction and stuff. But I want to know the good stuff, because he wasn't always a bad man. So, like, you probably need to ask your mom, like, the good stuff.
I used to spend hours on the phone with my mom, going in on different things. And
positive things, good things.
It's usually mostly talk about me, like trying to dig in on her. Is like
I would get leeway once I figured out the solution or I exploded. That's when I got leeway. Or when they felt like it.
My mom
like those are 3 times. It was never when I asked.
My mom is one of them warrior women, just on a different frequency. So like no is no. Like, if she ain't gonna give no information, she not gonna get no information.
And I think black men gotta understand the trauma that black women deal with too. Like, I don't think you all take into consideration that when we have children, it's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? We stuck with those kids 90% of the time. There's some deadbeat mamas out here too. I don't even want to take away from that. It's some women that have baby after baby, drop the baby off. Somebody else raising somebody else's kids, right? But for the most part, it's like mothers really don't have an option. And so I'm not saying give a woman the benefit of the doubt, but what I am saying is sometimes you do have to dig a different way, because women give up a lot and they sacrifice a lot just to have a child and bring a child into the world. And we, you know, women don't have kids thinking like, oh, I'm not going to be with this man 10, 20 years down the road. We don't think like that. And sometimes we in positions, I can't speak for nobody but me, where you in a position and it's like, I'm 16, I know I'm not ready for a kid, and then you get to the place thinking you gonna go ahead and handle the situation, and like, baby, you got a whole baby, go ahead, you gonna have that baby.
Yeah.
It's too late.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You got a whole big grown baby. Yeah, bye.
Yeah.
You know, like, so like women aren't, I don't think a woman could ever fully prepare to be a mother. And a lot of people don't know what comes with birthing a child and like the stress from postpartum. And then not every woman make it out of that. Even if you think they okay, don't every woman bounce back from that 6 weeks after delivering a child.
And then you got a lot of stress on the men who, you know, think like the women, like, I'm gonna be here for my child no matter what.
True.
But then they know that, oh, this person can take my child from me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's stress alone in itself as well too. You know
True.
what I'm saying? For men. So it all comes down to just everybody just trying to learn and know self. You know what I'm saying? And vibrate on the highest frequency, or just figure out the flow that works for you. You know what I'm saying? Because this is yin and yang life. So
it is, but we have to find
the balance.
I'm with Cheno. We have to find, even if it's not a full solution, you have to have some active play in place to lead to the solution. Yeah. So it's like, if I know I don't look, I first off, I feel like I'm 1 and 1. I got a good, great baby father that was always there time-wise. Financially, he might not have been the core of it, like from a money standpoint, but like my child didn't want for a dime a time ever. And some women are so caught up in money that money is not the answer. And then I have one baby father, I'm like, yo, can you just pick your kid up? Like, I don't even need your little measly ass child support. If you take him to the barber shop every week or every other week or whatever, that would be so. I hate going to the barber shop. I hate that when I go to the barber shop, there's women women outside dropping their kids off to get a haircut. That's a moment that every father should spend with their son. Because a young man can learn so much in the barbershop. You hearing all the neighborhood men talk. You learning about life. You learning about business. You seeing black men just great all the way around this room that's cutting hair. They talk about their relationships, everything. Like, I hate walking in a barbershop. Because I just feel like that's something that a mother shouldn't have to do with her son. But if you go to barbershops, especially around here, you gonna catch a woman in there with her son. And so it's like, it's just little things that I feel like a man could just contribute. And that's why I think that house bill is so important.
But the thing with all of that is, it's like, what you saying with the women and not like knowing self and like trying to get more organized, then you raising men like me who don't know self. And then you have to learn self, you know what I'm saying? So then if I don't know myself and I'm having a child, then I don't have no direction, you know what I'm saying? I have to get to knowing myself in order to get some kind of direction, in order to create something better.
But again, that comes from I don't feel like I learned everything that I know from my mother.
Yeah, me either.
My best teachers were...
experience of life. Probably.
No, I wouldn't even say that. I play sports, so it's totally different for me.
Yeah, I played sports my whole life.
Yeah, like, yeah. I don't know. I've always probably been on the defense about stuff. You know, like, just I've always, even as a little kid before I even started playing sports, like, I just think I was always like this inquisitive kid. I always asked a lot of questions. And I low-key was like a Matilda. I probably was reading books I probably had no business reading even as a little kid. Because I just...
I Matilda. That was my favorite.
I really wanted to escape the world that I was living in. Right? Yeah, so it's like when you grow up in this... I feel like I can't... when New Jack City... I remember being in the movie theaters watching New Jack City as a child. With my mother.
Shit. Boys in the Hood.
No. I mean, like, when it was released in the movie theaters, like, my mom took us. And I'm up in there, bitch, like, oh, Nino.
That's a live movie.
Right, for a kid.
Yeah.
I'm like... But again, I felt like I grew up in all of that.
Yeah.
It's nothing about that movie that I probably didn't experience.
None of that shit affected me when I watched it. So,
but I wanted out of that, and I felt like when you grow up in like public housing, you see that so many people get complacent and just sit there.
Yeah.
And it's like I praise my mother because she always told us to want better for ourselves, but it was like my coaches, my teachers, me doing my work. It was like school was just the move for me because I was really escaping what I was seeing every day as soon as I walked out my door.
And this is part of why I think they need a male and a female both in the same position of power and leadership, because logic is you have a thought, then you have logic to it, then you got the way you feel about it. You know, men process things logically, so we just like, yeah, man, this shit fucked up, but we got to get through this shit. Yeah. Women like, damn, this is fucked up. You see this? Yeah. This is real fucked up. Like, oh my god, like I gotta do something about this. Oh my god, like y'all feel it more. But I grew up with a woman, and I'm logical. So, like, if I really don't like something, I can change it as soon as I figure out what it is, because I don't like the way it feels. I know how to, you know, get through it. And that's what I see right now, even with y'all, because the logic coming, then the way you feel about it. But you have, I guess from the books, you have you can direct your logic very, very, very well. You know what I mean?
Or, you know, again, life experience.
Experience as well,
But I'm a little different. Like most women can't have a conversation like
exactly.
I can, like if you had another woman in here, she wouldn't be talking the way I'm talking.
She would be upset.
Yeah,
she would have been upset 15 times over there by now.
Yeah, like they don't talk like me only because again I'm real big on like the accountability aspect of a lot of things, and I think sometimes women feel like especially black women, I'm gonna say black women, we feel like we can be excused from taking accountability just because I raised your kids.
Society said
I had your kids.
Yeah.
Society.
I did this.
Look.
Nah, dog, I could be all the way wrong. I probably done dragged my poor baby daddy. He probably never love a woman ever again.
They don't know they self. You know yourself. Accountability comes with knowing self. So you
can watch a woman chase a man down the street and just laugh at it. Never wonder what the fuck's going on. You see that role reverse. Yeah. Anything. He can throw a piece of paper at her. It don't matter. It's gonna be 3 to 4 motherfuckers like, what you doing? You don't do that. Somebody might jack the nigga up, smack him. You like, wait a minute, she just threw an apple at this nigga on TV.
But we do stuff all the time and take no accountability for it. And I think that we're in an age right now where a lot of black women really want to be part of this like feminist movement and like this women's movement. It's never been for us. and not even that, like we've always been either ahead or 50% into our household, even all the way back to days in slavery.
Period. Yeah.
When we woke up in the morning, me and my husband both, or me and my child's father, well, they got married back then, let's say husband, let's be politically correct. Mm-hmm. When we walked out that door, we both went to work. And if we had small kids, our small kids was there with the older family members. Or they was just stuck raising themselves.
They disconnected the generations.
They did.
They disconnected. So
but it's on us to connect it.
Yeah, so we aware, so we gotta fight harder to keep that connection and to make sure that, you know, we got a better connection with the younger generation. It's a lost connection between all of that whole process.
Agreed. But again, when you have people with platforms that's out here saying, I don't believe in gender roles, first of all, to all of y'all out there. I'm not cutting no damn grass. Get your manly ass out there, cut that grass. I'm not trimming no trees. I'm not hedging no bush. I'm not doing none of that. So yes, I believe in gender roles. What?
See, but my spirit feel like that's cool. I don't mind doing all the physical work. Like that's like I feel like physical work. That's what I'm built for. That's
but
what
you
I'm
can't say that to feminists.
I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do. Like nothing like, oh, you shouldn't do it. If a woman can do it, cool. But I feel like that's the physical stuff I'm supposed to do.
But
I can cook and do all that cleaning stuff too. But some stuff around that area, I'd be like, maybe.
But again,
I want to chill. I want to build. I want to create. I want to do something else in the process. So I can kind of. Society set a lot of rules and standards down.
But again, I'm gonna say you can't have that conversation with somebody that believe in this whole feminist movement that say I don't believe in gender roles. So I'm like, okay, boo, okay, you don't believe in gender roles. I really want to see you paint the whole house.
They'd be like, I will. Because they don't have to prove
How about
They
you
ain't gonna do it.
Exactly, they won't do it, but they'll
pound buckets of paint right
Listen.
here.
I will. Where's the paint?
Without hurting your back.
Where's the paint?
I get sick of going in Lowe's and needing something really heavy and low.
Hey, can you help me with this?
And I have to be like, excuse me, sir.
Can you? Nah. My
What you
nails.
mean you don't believe in gender
Between
roles?
my nails and my back, I'm not doing it.
I went to the gym by choice today. I ain't even feel like doing
That
it. Like,
shit
are you
is funny as a
serious?
motherfucker.
Women be killing me with that. Like, yeah, I don't believe in gender roles. Well, baby, I do. I'm gonna need him to do certain things that I just know I'm not gonna do. Now, I'm not saying like, you know, I'm gonna be this like stay at home. No, I like being independent in the sense that I want to earn my own money, and then we, you know, split the bills down the middle. Like, yes, I do want to be independent
Bring
as far
this
as
world
earning.
with that world together.
As far as earning, but like, yeah, like Look, I've argued with so many women. I don't know if y'all follow the guy on Instagram, Kevin Samuels, that be checking all these women with this relationship stuff.
I seen him popping up on TikTok. He be going there.
But again, you can't ask certain women like, do you feel you deserve it all? You can't ask a woman like me, do I feel I deserve it all? Because see, one thing about it, two things for certain. Like, I'm like a dude's best friend. So I've been around guys my entire life. My best friend, my very, very childhood best friend is a dude. So like all my game came from a dude. All my game came from my cousins. So it's like I'm gonna tell you, like, if somebody say, do you think you deserve it all? Like, hell no. I live in a perfect world. These people that think that they deserve it all, you admit your mind, that freedom we was talking about, that elevate into a different frequency. I don't know what world y'all live in.
Yeah, they be in La La Land.
Cause
they
ain't
be
nothing
thinking La La
perfect.
Land is the elevation place, and that's two completely different
Nothing
places.
is perfect. And I'm like, what makes you think you deserve it all? So you want the man to make all the money. This is how confusing we be as women sometimes. I'm sorry, ladies. I want a man that made 6 figures or better. He look good. He drive a nice car. He got a nice house. He can dress good. He wear this, and the third. Yeah, we going shopping at Saks. How much money in your bank account, boo?
Yeah, what value do you have?
What did you bring to the table?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is.
And this is the thing that killed me with a lot of women is, I want a man with no kids. How many kids you got? So it's like we have all these false expectations of what we want in a man, and the reality is we need to get the man that comes with the level of trauma that we at, so we can both work with each other to get past that trauma to build a more perfect union.
When I lived in a false world, I thought that same thought, that I didn't want to be with a woman or a female who already had a child already.
Yeah, you
until I grew out of that process.
Because now with the way they jacking up these trannies out here, you should want a woman with kids. You know what I'm saying? Because like you get tricked, you could get tricked quick.
Somebody is gonna be in a box. They try to trick my ass.
But that's what. But you wouldn't know. Look, these doctors so good. I'm telling you, like this. But we being real and we having a real conversation.
You can't
here,
live
like,
that frugal single life the way you used to back in the day. Like even the clubs are scary. You go there, you gotta check. So either you're gonna violate or you're gonna feel something. So
but you should,
like you know what I'm saying. So you shouldn't have to go through that process.
And it's nothing against the LGBT community. You might want to cut that part out, but you know.
And that's the thing. Like we like transparency. He might be a little more rigid with his transparency, and you might be on the medium scale of that rigid.
No. But you know, people so sensitive. So I'm just saying,
this is not a sensitivity location. So if you are very sensitive in that area, you should turn this.
But I have boys, so I feel some type of way about that. I have a cousin
who was born gay, but I don't hate her or have any animosity. But she don't push that shit on nobody else. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Don't push that shit on me. Don't push it on my kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, see, I have boys, and it's one thing to sit down and have a conversation with your young man about.
I'm aware, and I see how they feminize men in these movies, and it's like if I wasn't aware, I'm looking at the men that they are putting in all these main character roles, and they're very feminine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or they're very well manicured. They don't even use men anymore.
Yeah, they definitely are making it kind of. That's why I just feel like we do have to get to a common ground where we can strengthen the black household again, and black men really play their role.
Yeah, and just like with this conversation, we have a transparency, man. Like I think people need to be able to articulate as well as speak in a way that you can reach as many people as possible. But be transparent, because it's just like part of the issue is we have these conversations where Charlottesville is pretty much whitewashed, but if we bring it up, they have the option to just be quiet and look you in your face, even on camera. So and you have to react according to how they feel. You get what I'm saying?
But the thing with me is like we don't even have to say it. We could just do something about it. I mean, that's how I grew up anyways. You know, it wasn't a whole lot of arguing. Somebody did something you ain't like, you punch them in the face. Like the same thing in life. Like, fuck complaining. People tell me, oh, you can't get no job, you can't do this, you've been in prison, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't hold that shit in my head. I still came out maneuver and did what the fuck I had
and
to
this
do.
Is
that
why
shit wasn't going to put no hold on my perspective.
This is why we need, I'm thinking too, but this is a good example of, he just like, shit, punch him in the face. She's trying to find a solution, and I'm in the middle. Because I want to punch somebody in the face. But I want to find a fucking solution.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But
I'm saying the same thing. I'm saying the same thing. I'm saying I don't need to tell you Black Lives Matter. I'll show you my life matter.
Yeah.
You come over here and play with me. I'll show you my life matter. I'll show you my family life matter. I'm over here organizing something completely different. Giving back and helping. I'm showing you my life matter. I don't need you to fucking tell me, or I got to tell you my life matter, motherfucker. Yeah. Try me.
Yeah, but the punching in the face, I'm like, with him, it's like, yeah, I be wanting to do that all the time. But then I know that there's consequences behind it. And with me, I'm always looking for a solution, because it's like, I'm all my kids got, you know, so if something happened to me, then that takes away from them.
But at the same time, it's like, then you only looking at yourself as a physical being. I got a 5-year-old daughter, and I know I'm more than just this body, and I got to go eventually. So if my time calls sooner, then I gotta stand and I gotta go.
Oh yeah, I ain't afraid to die, man. Yeah. But what I'm saying is,
but like,
you gonna really have to like, force my hand to just. They want us to react in a way that.
Nah, they know we getting tired of the system, so we about to break away either way. So
no, yeah. I mean,
they
but
know that's coming. They trying to prolong it is what they trying to do. They had all the rebellions and quote unquote that they wanted to show. You know what I'm saying? But people was already doing all of that shit already.
When it's about process too, though.
It's so many avenues opening up now. Like people is creating so many avenues for like. What's the name? Sarar Speaks came on yesterday.
Oh, Sarar, yeah.
Yeah, showing people how to get to Africa. Like, never crossed my brain. You know what I'm saying? I always thought about going there, but I didn't know how easy the process was. You know what I'm saying?
It's real easy.
Extremely easy, but I didn't know the process. You know, you only hear, but until you actually start reaching out, communicating with people, and experiencing life, you're not really gonna know unless you just researching.
It's easy to get funding for stuff, but until you know about it.
And the grants.
The grants. It's easy to get money, but until somebody open you up to it, you didn't know that. And that stuff, a lot of that stuff been going on for a long time. So it's lack of knowing, and it's the lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
That it really boils down to.
Yeah.
But in the same sense, it's like, okay, we can correct it from a business standpoint. We still need to correct it in our homes. And then once we get that form of union back together, like when we unite with one another inside our homes, if our parents look, we all said we had the same thing coming up.
Yeah.
My mom couldn't wait till we turned 18. She was like, y'all getting the hell out of here.
Yeah.
You gonna pay bills or you got to leave.
Yeah.
And even when you pay bills, it's like, I gotta abide by your rules. So I can't
at 19, I got out at 19.
But it's like, wait a minute.
17.
I graduated and you telling me I gotta come in when you want me to come in? I can't just come in when I want, even though I'm paying bills?
Still my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wash them dishes.
Yeah.
This person can't come over.
We got the man laws, we got your laws, it's just laws. It's like, and that's when we in our most crucial point in life.
But imagine if we could have stayed at home, lived at home. I know if I could have lived at home till I was like 24, 25 and not paid rent and saved all of my money, and by the time I was ready at 25, 26, I could have stepped right out and purchased a house, because I was making good money walking out of high school. When I went to Richmond, those 3 months, I made more money than my mother every month that I got paid. I was 14.
As we talking and I'm going back through my mind, because I have like a photogenic mind, I'm just seeing these pictures and stuff. I just see so many levels where they disconnected the father, disconnected the mother, disconnected the children, disconnected the generation.
Yeah, my sperm donor said he was glad they created child support. That way he ain't got to deal with the woman or the child. So I knew I was already a part of that whole program, and that I had to dig myself out of once I actually started learning self.
And then you got to deal with resentments within yourself, within all these people.
But then once I sit down and face them and address them, because that's what kind of person I am, I have to have a sit down and address it, because I don't like to keep gray areas. Then I'm usually Gucci from there. Because then some people you don't get closure. They're not going to give you closure, so you got to create closure yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's like when my daughter seeing me do all this stuff, she always talking podcast, Godcast. I let her see the TikTok because I had set one up, but I hadn't posted nothing on it. But then her using it and seeing it and doing her own little videos more, just playing, not doing nothing crazy, got me digging more and using it more than I needed to, learning more about something that I already needed to. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, it's double action.
So as an emotional being, as a woman, I believe women are more so emotional beings. How do women process situations that are hard? You know what I mean? Like the father situation or the child situation. How do y'all process things?
So I think that the world neglects that. Like black women, we process stuff internally. And I think that's one of the reasons why, we deal with so many like health issues later in life because of that. Because we hold a lot of stuff in. I mean, I'm going all the way back to my grandmother with this. My grandmother had a very long relationship with my grandfather, and when I was younger, I thought it was good. And now that I'm at the age I'm at now, I'm like, damn, she should have left his ass. Like, I'll fuck my granddaddy up.
Yeah, nah.
Straight up. Like, you running around with everybody but her. Like, But I noticed that once she got older and she got in her 80s.
Did he still take care of her?
He took care of the house. But if I got to deal with you cheating and doing all that other stuff.
But see, then that also comes down to another bigger perspective. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're going to have a lot of cutting to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just talk about the woman emotional process right now.
Yeah, but that's what I'm like, I think that internally we hold it in. And then like once she got like dementia, I witnessed it coming out. Right? It took a terminal illness for her to ever even show. Listen, I've never seen my grandmother argue with my grandfather.
Oh, that's interesting. It's interesting when you say that.
But we do. Black women, you can like Google this and find articles where they talk about like black women, like we internally deal with things.
So what's a picture, like what's a like when you internally dealing with something as a woman, what is that like? Like what is your mind like? Like
it makes us age. We age way more fast. Like our outside look good, our insides is old.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Like we look good on the outside, but internally, like we are really like walking around and we just carrying all this like pain and agony. And then the things that people don't understand that we deal with too is that be a black mother of young black men. Yo, that in itself. You barely sleeping at night. Let your son, I have a 22-year-old son, about to be 23. You let my son leave my house after 11 o'clock at night. I'm worried. Every time, and he had an experience when he was in high school riding with a friend. They got into an accident, the police came on the scene. And I just know how afraid my son was and what he experienced in that situation. So I know how he got treated walking through my neighborhood, the neighborhood we live in. They would say little things to him and his friends up the street. So it's like, I could never take away like the pain of a man, of a young black man or a black man in general, and what you all have to go through and experience, because we have one strike against us. We black. Y'all have 2 strikes against y'all. You black and you a man. So again, like to like compare and like battle out the difference between the black woman struggle and the black man struggle, because like we collectively we have our own struggle being black, right? But there's a difference for black men. Like you guys have so many hurdles to go to like jump over, and so many obstacle courses to complete throughout life just to even make it. You know what's really sad is that you don't hear black women speak up too often and say, damn, I live to see 25. I'm blessed.
I ain't know what to do once I turn 25.
Man, I done heard so many black guys.
I ain't know what to do, yo. I had no idea what to do.
I had so many black guys that I grew up with that didn't even make it. You know, like they got killed. Right in West Haven. They got shot. So it's like you grow up, you seeing the people you went to school with die. The parents of these people overdosing off drugs. You seeing a revolving door. Some of the same people who parents was on drugs, their children are now on drugs. It's like I have seen all of this stuff like growing up. And so to me, it's like that's probably one of the reasons why I'm constantly trying to find a solution to make it better, or I'm so given in wanting to uplift my community, because I feel like I done seen just a lot, and it breaks you to a point, like it just breaks you to a point to know it's a revolving door somewhere, and it's like, how do we stop it? How do we end us killing us, and then we killing each other, and then we repping hoods that don't none of our parents own? Matter of fact, all them motherfuckers owned by Charlottesville Redevelopment Housing Authority. So First Street beefing with the projects beefing with 6th Street, 6th Street beefing with Garrett, and it's like, yo, we all from the only one that ain't owned by CRHA is Garrett. But it's like, technically, we all represent the same damn community. Like, we're so small-minded that we forget that all of these neighborhoods are like properties of CRHA and nobody owns it. And then, you know, once the damage is done, once somebody done shot somebody, or, you know, somebody died or whatever, that one person that probably did it gonna sit back and say, man, I wish I would have thought about it an extra, 2-3 minutes before I reacted, because I ain't even mean to do that. Or it wasn't even that serious for us to be beefing anyway. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's just knowing the things that I've been around and how different people around me done died, and how small the arguments were over why these people lost their life. I don't know. I value things different, and I want to find that solution.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. I think the self-reflection, man, self-awareness, consciousness, that's the first step, because you got to change our mind state. That's why people argue about anything. They fixated on the perspective, they fixated on the mind state, they fixated on a concept of which they live by. But yeah.
I agree.
And on that note, we're gonna wrap this thing up.
Yes, because we'll go all day.
It's been another dope episode of the TrakWolf Godcast. You know what I'm saying? You wanna let the people know what you got going on and coming up?
So when the world opened back up, of course, I don't know if y'all know, but I did the Made in Charlottesville concert in Thompson, and I brought Wale here October 2019. Hopefully we gonna have more of that. I'm big on elevating voices of local community members, especially the artists. When I did Made in Charlottesville, I had all local acts and a couple of acts from surrounding counties. I paid everybody. I used the Bama Fund grant to do that.
Nice.
And
Nice.
Red Light Management and Charlottesville Area Community Foundation, they were part of the reason why Wale came here, and that was a free concert for everybody. But yeah, I do a lot. Doing a woman's event on March 20th. That's probably gonna be live streamed through Jefferson School. I don't want to talk about the topic yet because I haven't really solidified it, but it's really going to be empowering virtual
Conference.
Not really a conference, but a conversation. And I'm hoping that it goes the way that it needs to go. Because it's about Black people agreeing to disagree, and, us being able to disagree with each other, but also know that I don't have to agree with everything that you believe in.
Yeah.
But I could be, 7%.
It's okay to agree to disagree.
Yeah, like 93% I agree with you, 77% I don't. But that doesn't mean that I love you any less, and that doesn't mean that in that 7% I can't hold you accountable. So it's more on that type of vibe. But yeah, just stay tuned. I mean, with the pandemic, there's not much that I can do from the work that I was known for doing. I want to revamp my movie and get it on PBS. That's one of my biggest goals. So other than that, you can check me out on Facebook, YouTube. A Legacy Unbroken, the story of Black Charlottesville, is on Amazon Prime and Vimeo. So
yeah, definitely make sure y'all stay in tune, you know what I'm saying? Definitely appreciate you pulling up, sharing some perspective, dropping some knowledge, you know what I'm saying? It's been another great one. Y'all stay in tune, tapping with Vinegar Hill, you know what I'm saying? We got Cheno Bliss in the building as always, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I'm your boy TrakBeatz, and we're signing out.